Have you ever wondered why some people get rich while others, no matter how hard they work, seem to be stuck in a financial rut? What if I told you that most of what we learn about money from our parents and schools is actually keeping us poor? That is the explosive idea at the heart of a book that changed my life and the lives of millions, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Today, we're going to break down its powerful lessons in just 10 minutes. This isn't just about getting rich. It's about changing your entire mindset about money, work, and life itself. Stick around, because the secrets we're about to uncover could be your first step toward true financial freedom. The story starts with Robert Kiyosaki as a young boy growing up in Hawaii. He had two fathers who taught him very different lessons about money. His biological father, who he calls Poor Dad, was a highly educated, high-ranking government official. He believed in the classic path: go to school, get good grades, find a safe, secure job with a good salary and benefits. He always said things like, "I can't afford that," and "the love of money is the root of all evil." He worked hard his whole life but always struggled financially. Then there was his rich dad, who was actually his best friend's father. Rich Dad never finished the 8th grade, but he was a savvy entrepreneur who eventually became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. He had a completely different philosophy. He would say, "How can I afford that?" And "the lack of money is the root of all evil." He believed the traditional school system taught people how to be good employees, not rich employers or investors. He taught Robert that you don't need a high income to become wealthy. You need financial literacy. This brings us to the first and most fundamental lesson: the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. Poor Dad's life revolved around his paycheck. He was trapped in what Kiyosaki calls the rat race, a cycle of working to pay bills, which then forces you to keep working. You get a raise, you buy a bigger house or a nicer car, your expenses go up, and you're still trapped, just in a fancier cage. Rich Dad, on the other hand, taught Robert to focus on acquiring assets, not just earning a high salary. And this is where most people get confused. What exactly is an asset? The definition is simple. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. It sounds basic, right? But this is where the middle class often stumbles. Think about your home. Most people consider their house their biggest asset. But Rich Dad would argue that for most people, their primary residence is a liability. Why? Because you have to pay a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs every single month. It takes money out of your pocket. An asset would be a rental property that generates a positive cash flow after all expenses are paid. That property is putting money in your pocket every month. The same goes for your car. Unless you're using it for a business that generates income, it's a liability. The rich focus their lives on buying and building assets. The poor and middle class focus on acquiring liabilities they think are assets. This is the core difference. The wealthy build a portfolio of assets like stocks, bonds, income-generating real estate, and businesses that produce passive income. Eventually, this passive income from their assets becomes large enough to cover all their living expenses. At that point, they are financially free. They no longer have to work for a paycheck. They can choose to work because they want to, not because they have to. Their money is now working for them 24/7. The next crucial lesson is the importance of financial education. Kiyosaki says, "Intelligence solves problems and produces money." Money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. Our schools teach us professional skills to get a job, but they teach us almost nothing about managing our money. We learn how to earn it, but not how to keep it, grow it, or make it work for us. This financial ignorance leads to fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of taking risks. Poor Dad was terrified of risk. He played it safe his whole life. Rich Dad understood that investing always involves risk, but he also knew that the biggest risk of all is being financially uneducated and relying solely on a job. Financial literacy helps you understand the difference between a good deal and a bad one. It teaches you about the 4 key components of financial intelligence: accounting, which is the ability to read numbers; investing, the science of money, making money; understanding markets, the law of supply and demand; and the law understanding taxes and corporate structures. Speaking of taxes, this is another huge advantage the rich have. Poor Dad complained about taxes. Rich Dad learned how to legally minimize them. The average employee earns money, gets taxed on that income, and then tries to live on what's left. The rich, especially those who own corporations, do it differently. Their businesses earn money, spend money on everything they can, and are then taxed on what's left. It's a huge mindset shift. They use the tax code to their advantage, legally protecting their wealth and allowing it to grow much faster. This isn't about tax evasion. It's about understanding the rules of the game and playing it smarter. So, how do you start applying these lessons? Kiyosaki says you need to mind your own business. This doesn't mean quitting your day job right away. It means while you're working your 9 to 5 to pay the bills, you must spend your free time and spare cash building your own asset column. Your profession is what you do for your boss. Your business is what you do for yourself. Your business is your asset column. This could be starting a small side hustle, investing in dividend-paying stocks, buying your first rental property, or even creating intellectual property like a book or a YouTube channel that can generate royalties. The key is to start small, learn as you go, and reinvest the profits back into acquiring more assets. Don't go out and buy luxuries with your first big win. Buy another asset. Let your assets buy your luxuries for you. Want a new car? Don't use your salary. Buy an asset that generates enough passive income to cover the car payment. That's the rich dad way. Another powerful lesson is the concept of working to learn, not to earn, especially early in your career. Kiyosaki advises choosing a job based on the skills you'll acquire, not just the salary. If you're afraid of rejection, take a job in sales to learn how to overcome that fear. If you don't understand marketing, find a role where you can learn it. These skills, sales, marketing, communication, negotiation, leadership, are far more valuable in the long run for building your own business and asset column than a slightly higher starting salary. Your main job is a short-term solution. The skills you learn are long-term assets. Finally, you have to overcome your mental roadblocks. The 5 main reasons people remain financially stuck are fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. We've talked about the fear of losing money. To counter this, Rich Dad says to treat failure as a learning opportunity. Everyone who's successful has lost money at some point. The difference is that the rich learn from their mistakes and get smarter. Cynicism, that little voice that says that will never work, keeps you from even trying. Laziness, the habit of being too busy for your learning. So, to wrap it all up, the path to financial freedom isn't about getting a raise. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset. Stop working for money and start building assets that work for you. Understand the true difference between an asset and a liability. Continuously invest in your financial education. Mind your own business by building your asset column on the side. Work to learn valuable skills, not just to earn a paycheck. And finally, overcome the mental blocks of fear and cynicism that hold you back. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term strategy for building real, sustainable wealth. It is about taking control of your financial future instead of leaving it in the hands of an employer or the government. The journey starts with a single step, deciding to become financially literate and start building your asset column, even if it's just with a few dollars. Thanks for watching today. If this video sparks something in you, I highly recommend you pick up a copy of the book. It goes into so much more detail. Let me know in the comments which lesson from Rich Dad Poor Dad resonates with you the most. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that helps you build a wealthier life. See you in the next one.